Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Death by podcast featuring your boy Thomas Slock, your boy, and my assistant Jax the Lucky. You being my assistant because Sing Song World, you were like, my name's Jack and these are my two assistants.
Oh yeah.
Ryan Nethercott and Thomas Slock.
My name's Jack. I just remember listening to it and then we were talking about something and then Ryan wasn't in it and then all of a sudden you hit... No, I think it was me. I think you left for food. And then he came back and he was like, Jack, afters.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a beautiful moment.
I don't remember that.
Egbert, if you listen to this...
I spoke to him on the podcast actually because he's obviously doing Egg on Your Face. Do you know about Egg on Your Face? Shout out the Egg on Your Face podcast.
But he's not going to do that for us.
Yeah, so... Be the change you wish to see in the world. So today on the podcast we have a bunch of stuff to talk about, as per usual. There's always news when it comes to Dead by Daylight, and we're gonna have a little bit of opinioning today, a little bit argumentative maybe. The first thing we're going to talk about is the changes to Billy. I think we've actually spoken about your exact opinions on this. What do you think? Obviously, Billy, for those of you that don't know, Billy's getting a nerf. His chainsaw can now overheat, meaning that you cannot take his chainsaw after a certain amount of time. What are your thoughts on this, Jag?
Why aren't they nerfing the spirit?
That's actually...
Billy's not broken.
Do you want to know what the third topic is I've got here?
Really?
Nerfing spirit.
It might... Right, we won't go to that yet. We'll try and make this structured, because it seems to bounce all over the place usually.
Yeah, let's try and stay on topic for once.
Okay, and then we'll bring back to it. I should really write notes down, to be honest. Can I have a pen to write on your table?
No.
Anyway.
Just pretend you're writing on it.
No, but...
What do you think of the...
I need them for my listenings, my memories.
I see. What do you think of the Billy nerf?
I don't think Billy's broken to begin with. I think he's an A-class... I don't think he's broken to begin with. I think he's an A-class killer. I personally think Freddy's stronger.
Really?
Than Billy, yeah. I think
Freddy's kind of mid-tier in my opinion.
Well, actually, the devs did did all their stats, put them together.
Did they? What?
And
I haven't seen this. This is something I want to see.
This was something about 2 or 3 weeks ago that was sent to me on stream.
Okay, and I want a copy of that. If any of you know how to get a copy of that, I want to see that.
Well, it's on Dead by Daylight forum, I think, something like that. And anyway, they got all the data together. They found since the nerf as well from Nurse that it was less people are playing her, so it's sort of she's more balanced. They found that Freddy is the strongest killer based on amount of time played to amount of kills.
I think that's to do with his speed more than anything. I don't think anything that Billy has, I think anything that Freddy has makes him particularly better than any other killer.
Mind games. The pallets are so much stronger than the snares, in my opinion. The snares are anti-loop, yeah.
Well, actually, no,
the pallets you can set up on your way to a gen. Or to find the survivors, and then...
And you just drop them everywhere.
Yeah, we only get 10.
You only get 10, right?
Yeah, so... but they're easily done, and then obviously every time someone breaks them...
Got one more back.
The amount of times I've managed to get people down because they hang around a pallet, and you just go, well, I know that's fake. You don't.
Yeah.
and then you just hit them, and they're like, oh.
That's pretty great.
So yeah, it's really good.
Well, so you can't loop him because he's got... Well, the pallets is mind games. You can't loop him because he's got the traps, the snares.
No, but you can only have one or the other, can't you?
Yeah, that's true. But what I mean is it's either or, right? So either way...
He can also teleport as well.
Yeah, well, loops are a little bit less effective. He has good map pressure because of his teleporting ability, and he also moves extremely fast.
He's the
ridiculously fast.
I don't know if he's...
It feels like he moves fast.
His lunge, and this is coming from pretty much a Freddy main.
Yeah.
Me, myself, Freddy and Ghostface. His lunge is too big, for sure. Even when I get people with a lunge at a great distance, I don't enjoy it because I think, well, that was nothing to do with me. That was just how big his thing is. The survivors got me there. They pulled the pallet down easy, and for some reason I'm still able to hit them. It's just, and it's happened to me a few times as Survivor, but obviously that's annoying for Survivor, but as the killer as well, I don't think that it's fair. I think they should really nerf the lunge, that's it. And I think...
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you want me to stay on topic talking about Billy?
Yeah, Billy.
Then immediately.
It's because I don't play Billy. I used to play Billy on PlayStation when I played, and he was okay. I did quite well with him, not great. I don't enjoy him that much. On PC, I struggle because I haven't played him in a long time, but when I first started playing PC, I played him, and I just found him really difficult to control. So I'm not really the greatest person to talk about, but
as a survivor playing against him though,
I can loop Billy's. If you get to a good loop, you can loop Billy's quite easy. The only saving grace is the fact when you have the add-ons, they can just quickly get the cornering really good. But at the same time, they can only corner once. So if you get into a position where you've got like a rectangle loop, you just stay at the opposite end and he can't get you because he can only do that, and you've already moved by then. Yeah. So I don't know if that was clear. But I don't think he should be nerfed personally. I know people moan about him, but you just need to learn to play against him. There's only one killer that I would nerf, and we'll go into that in a bit. And that's just because even though I used to play her, that's a hint, as a main.
We've already said who it's going to be.
You didn't know if you were going to cut that bit out.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, I used to main her on PlayStation because she was just so powerful. But she was a lot of fun to play as, but she was powerful. Yep. Now I don't play her at all because I don't find her fun. She's too easy to play as. Right. And there's mind games. She's my type of killer because it's mind games. But anyway, we'll move on to that in a bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me with Billy, it's pretty much exactly what the dev said, in that his ability, he didn't need a nerf. His ability created...
Who's calling for a nerf
No one was
for
calling,
Billy?
that's the thing. His ability created interesting chases, interesting scenarios where you couldn't just chase people the way you normally chase them. You have to mix it up a little bit. So you can run away from people the way that you'd normally run away from any other killer, from any M1 killer. With a lot of killers like Wraith or Myers to an extent, or Trapper, when they're not using their ability, they just become M1 killers, but that was never the case with Billy, because he could rev up that chainsaw, and people did rev up that chainsaw constantly to try and get that instant down. And that made him a really interesting killer.
And there's no element of surprise either at the beginning of the game. As soon as he revs his thing, you go, that's Billy.
Yeah. But it didn't matter. It didn't make him any less strong. And the thing is, he was fine. If anything, he needed a buff because you don't see very much of him at high ranks, or at least I don't come across him enough. So to be really honest, he didn't need any change. He didn't need a buff. He didn't need a nerf. He certainly didn't need a nerf. Bubba definitely did need a buff.
Yes.
And I guess they thought chainsaws. Let's also redo Billy. But I just don't. There's this theory going around, and I don't want to disrespect the devs. A lot of people in the community disrespect the devs, and I don't want to do that. But they say
they've made the greatest game I've ever played.
Yeah, but I mean, it just means they get a lot of hate. They post on social media, and instantly it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I don't want to be like that. But there is this kind of Reddit theory that they balance the game for rank 10. Not for rank 1, not for rank 20, because the largest amount of players are around rank 10.
I was going to say,
and at rank 10,
it's because they play at rank 10.
Well, I wasn't going to go down. I wasn't
going
to go down that route.
I don't think that any dev stream that I see where they're playing the game, they're not very good.
Right.
They're not high level players, which is stupid, really, because you'd think they'd be able to be good. There's instruction manuals out there from people who are good.
I wasn't going to go down the route of bashing the devs, but
I'm not bashing them because it's not a bad thing. It just means they don't have the experience for high level play, and you need to, because the high level play are the streamers. They're the ones that push the game out there.
But then could you argue that they should balance it for where the largest accumulation of players is, which may be rank 10.
Why did you say it like that?
Because I said it like that in the last podcast. It was a callback.
All right.
Cumulative. In conclusion, Billy Nerf bad.
It's not bad, just uncalled for.
Well,
because now he's still going to be better than half the killers out there. So, just because all you got to do just requires a little bit more skill.
They shouldn't have Billy. They should have buffed every other killer.
Well, that's another thing.
They should make the trappers traps over here.
Excuse me. Over here, yeah, just close by themselves. Yeah.
So the next. Gone.
That would be interesting. What if? Side note. What if?
Sidebar.
The trappers. Maybe there was an add-on for the trappers' traps to, after a certain amount of time, spontaneously close, but in a 10-meter radius around it, it releases this thing that hurts survivors. But it only works if it's open. If there's a trap open and the survivors don't know anything about it, because a lot of the time they go around.
This is a different killer, an AOE effect killer. And then maybe they can Freddy can see different gens. They can click on the
I've just come up with the best idea. let me just finish this idea. A new killer then, okay, I don't know who, with traps that they set, but when someone goes within a 5 meter, no, it's got to be 10 meters, right, or 12 meters. Well, they usually do in 12s instead of 10s for some reason. So within a 12 meter radius of a trap, you can't have another one in the middle of it. So they have to be 12 meters away from each other when you set them. So there's a 12 meter radius around, and if someone walks in there in that 12 meter radius, the killer gets notified and can cause it's like a cooldown thing, but they can M2 or whatever and cause it to I don't know, just explode or whatever, which then the survivors have to mend.
Oh,
how about that?
Yeah,
so they're not
cool
injured.
Although
they are injured though, aren't they? Because after mending, you are injured. But yeah, so they do that and then they have to mend, but it only works if the killer's maybe a certain distance away, so you can't camp it.
It's the Bomberman chapter.
Bomberman. That'd be sick, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be a cool killer.
So from a certain distance, so
difficult to control though.
Well, no, but if you look at the hag, she has to be within a certain radius to teleport to her traps. It'd be the opposite. They have to be a certain distance away, like make your choice, or whatever. Devour hope tokens. They have to be a certain distance away from the unhook. So they have to be a certain distance away. If someone triggers it, then you can go boom, and then they become something explodes. They become mended, and they also that'd be sick, right? They have to mend. Become mended.
It's a cool idea.
We should write these down and send them across.
We should write these down. Maybe we should like film them, put them on some sort of like video or podcast or something.
Podcast would be stupid.
So our second topic today, I think we've already spoken about it in one of the previous podcasts, but it's a perk that's kind of, I think, gone through a change for you, not for me, and that's Sprint Burst, because you started using Sprint Burst, and I maintain that Sprint Burst is bad. After having tried to use it for a few games and giving it another chance and not quite tweaked. It's
more of a fun perk, I'll say, than an optimal one. I'll be honest. Someone recommended it to me with Sprint Burst and Fixated, and it's a lot of fun. I don't always use the two together because it takes up 2 perk slots. I like if someone recommends something, it means that it must be good for something. That's what I do in life. If someone says something about an experience they've had, especially people that are older or more experienced, you should try it, because obviously for some reason, even if you don't think it works. Anyway, point is, he kept saying, yeah, use it. Is I do it, it's just so good. And I couldn't get to, every single time I put it into my build, I forget that I've got it. So the first thing I do, even if there's a gen right next to me, and I just go, sprint off to it, and I'm like, and they use my Sprint Burst. Yeah. But yeah,
but then you get it back after 40 seconds, right? So I mean,
if you have it in tier 3,
working on a gen for half a gen, and you've got it back. Yeah. So by the time the killer probably gets you to chase you, you've got it back.
I'd say it's not worth doing it unless you've got tier 3, because otherwise it goes to 50 seconds and then 60 seconds. You're exhausted for that amount of time. And whatever, and then a lot of people will then go, well, now I have to walk for 60 seconds. Well, no, don't do that. Just recover it while you're doing something.
You can recover. You can recover if you're good enough. You can recover exhaustion during a chase as well, if you get enough time, if you create enough distance.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
My problem with
that's going to take a while though.
Well, my problem with Sprint Burst, right? So you say, it's good with you have to walk everywhere. So you say, it's good with Fixated, because with Fixated, for those that don't know, you can walk 20% faster when you're not injured. So you're like, okay, so you can still walk everywhere, get things fairly fast, but that's still not as fast as running, right? So you're still slowing the game down for everyone else. That's part 1. Part 2 is, when do you use it? Unless you're really, really good at holding your exhaustion on 1%, you have to use it at the start of the chase to create distance between you and the killer. That's all you can use it for, right?
You can also use it, I've used it a few times to save people from hooks, because I'll be working on a gen, and my teammates, because we know what solo queues are like, someone's on the hook, quite a far distance away, you can use it to get there and just get a bit... get there a lot quicker, basically, a big burst of speed if you don't think your survivors are going to, or even if you've got Kindred and you think someone's going for the save, and you're like, right, well, I'll stay on this gen then, and then all of a sudden you see that they're being chased based on their erratic movement, putting down pallets and stuff, then you can just go, crap, I need to go and save them, and I think it's probably saved me a few times, or saved the other survivor and my team a few times by me getting there in time to do it. But it's just a burst of speed when you need it.
But that's basically one specific use case,
It's also really, really good in conjunction with adrenaline. So if you know when it's going to pop, if you know when the final gen's going to pop and you've got adrenaline, whether you're injured or not, it doesn't matter, as long as you're not exhausted. If you sprint just before the last gen's popped. You get that burst of speed.
Yeah,
and
in what situation are you going to be needing to?
So I'm a friend.
Okay, but
because you know.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, what I mean is, if you're being chased, you're probably exhausted if you got sprint burst, right? Because you're going to be running when you're being chased. There's no way of avoiding being exhausted with sprint burst when you're being chased, right?
Yeah, unless
So
you're 99.
in what situation? I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. I just think for me, it's like you're using 2 perk slots to make 1 perk kind of okay, and even then, it's extremely situational. What?
You're really good at not smiling. Every time I look at your face now, I can't help but smile. I'm sorry. We shouldn't have started laughing early on.
No. But yeah, why not take something like life that you can control rather than being.
To sum up, sprint burst is a fun perk. That's it. It's not optimal.
I just don't think it's particularly useful.
It's not great.
Whenever I see someone with
it works really well against the wraith if they're about to uncloak.
Oh,
because they don't hit you, and also the pig as well if they're about to go up and.
To me, when I see sprint burst, I know this is something that I shouldn't think because we know people that use it really, really well. You're obviously at rank 1 and you're using it. Whenever I see sprint burst, to me, I have the same thoughts I do when I see self care. I think bad. The same thing you think when you see.
It's nowhere near as bad as self care.
Self care. This is the best possible build you can hope to have at rank 1. Completely viable, perfect. I know it's a sudden change of tone, but bear with me. Self care, great. Sprint burst. Great. Urban evasion, right? And to top it all off, deja vu.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's deja vu's good in a way because you know where to go to get to a gen.
You should know where gens are. You should know where gen spawns are. Anyhow, there's no reason why you shouldn't know where gen spawns are after playing the game for more than 50 hours.
Larry's.
I'll give you Larry's. I'll give you Larry's.
The Midwich as well.
Midwich, Larry's in the game. I'll give you those 3.
Yep.
But every other map, I mean, even then, you know where gen spawns are. You know roughly where to look. Okay, so next and potentially final topic of discussion today, before I name that perk, is the Spirit. I think we both feel quite passionately about the Spirit. So.
Spirit. Was that name coined by True Talent?
Presumably, it's just him saying Spirit in his accent. Yeah. So. I'm gonna shoot my shot.
That's disgusting. I'd rather you didn't.
I'm gonna shoot my shot and talk about Spirit for a second. I think at any killer that needs to be nerfed, Spirit. Hands down, Spirit. And the only thing that needs to, because right, phase walking, fine, whatever, super annoying, but that's
how his voice is a lot louder now because he's really adamant.
I'm adamant.
And
it's
passionate about this topic.
Phase walking is a high skill thing, in my opinion. Maybe you disagree with that.
Mind games, 100%.
Mind games, yep. However, flickering in and out of existence makes her impossible to loop. She already has an ability that's anti-loop, and then she goes invisible randomly. Every single time I die to Spirit, not every single time, a lot of the times when I die to Spirit, it's because she's gone invisible and I haven't been able to predict what she's doing. Because how can you predict what she's doing when she goes invisible like that? She already has an anti-looping ability. It's impossible to win at chases against her because you cannot tell where she's going, where she is at any given time. Everything you know about the game, look for the terror, look for the red stain, look at her, goes out the window because she flickers in and out of existence. Remove that. Just get rid of that. Get rid of that, and she's fine.
I agree. She also does it when she vaults.
They changed that. They changed that.
Have they?
They've changed that. Yes.
Okay, because then that's good because people can you could just bait it. You can stand in front of it, and then people go, "Oh, I know what she's like. She's probably vaulting it because she goes invisible." But no,
she climbs over it now. That is an animation.
Okay, good. The Spirit is one of the most infuriating killers to play against.
Yeah.
I actually had a game. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I had a game that I think lasted about 3 minutes. I was in.
You were the killer, right?
No, I was survivor.
Okay.
So we were all on a gen together. So we all survivors spawned together. We all went on the same gen. We heard her phase in, so we thought, right, we'll move out of the way. She literally came straight out of phase and hit me as she was coming out straight away. Hit me. There were 2 other people around. I then went to go towards a loop, which was nearby. Someone tried body blocking so that they could take a hit for me. She completely ignored them and went for me.
Right.
Downed me pretty much straight away because of the phase and everything. Yeah. Okay, which is fine. That's who she is. She caught us out of position. That's fine. This story is kind of mainly towards this person, not just the Spirit, but this is how quick the Spirit and efficient the Spirit is. I then get picked up. Flashlight saved.
Oh.
Brilliant.
Nice.
I then try and go straight to a loop. She phases immediately, comes out, hits me down straight away. There's nothing I could have done. I couldn't get to a loop. If I didn't have Iron Will, so if I didn't run and use a scratch mark, she would have heard me.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that I think it's a 5-second stun for when you stun the killer, basically.
Yeah.
And she downs me. She hooks me. I don't think I had DS either, which would have helped. Yeah. Anyway, so she hooks me. Then she pretty much camps. She stands there, looks around, blah blah blah, looks around, and then. Oh, I didn't. That's why I couldn't use DS because I was flashlight saved. I wasn't hooked yet. So yeah, so I was picked up, and then someone else finally came and got me.
Right.
And she ignored them, followed me, phased me, hit me down straight away, Mori'd at the game.
Oh,
that's it. Couldn't do anything. So
any gens done in that time?
There wasn't enough time. I don't think you could physically do a gen in that the amount of time that I was in game to do that. It was just ridiculous. That was a horrible game.
Yeah, that sounds
horrible game. But that's how someone who was rank 1, by the way, rank 1 killer, how they can just literally take the game and just do that. They were very, very good at Spirit, no doubt. But they took a Mori and they tunneled and camped.
And there was no need for them to do that.
No need at all, but because of how good the Spirit is, it allows that gameplay as well.
What do you think could have been done to Spirit to have avoided that? How would you modify Spirit to make that fairer?
Not allow Moris for Spirit. 100%. Moris shouldn't even be in the game.
But yeah.
Moris and Keys shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah.
Take one out from Survivor, take one out from Killer. That's even. We won't talk about Noed because Noed is there for lower rank killers.
I think Moris should exist in the game, but I think they should only be done for the final hook. If you're on final hook.
Yeah, but that would have still worked for me because she would have phased me down, picked me up, put me back on there, camped, and that would have worked. But yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's only one game. It doesn't really happen very often. Either that or it should be the last. There should be 2 Moris, shouldn't there? There should be that one. The Ebony Mori should be the one where if you're on final hook, you're going to die anyway. Much like Pyramid Head is now, you can just kill him straight away, like a mini Mori. Then,
so
then you should be able to do that. That one and the other one should be kill the last survivor.
Yeah.
That's it.
Regardless of hooks as well, I'd say.
Yeah. And that's it. I just think they're so broken.
I don't mind the obsession getting Mori'd either. I think that's an interesting one. But it still needs to be on last hook.
Rancor's there for that.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, there's Perks, there's Devour Hope.
But still, go from Yellow Mori, last survivor in the trial. Green Mori, kill the obsession on their final hook. Ebony Mori, kill every survivor on their final hook.
Yeah, perfect. That's
fine. We've solved Moris! Right, let's move on to land that perk, because this is going to have 50 minutes worth of editing for me to do.
Sort of, but then you've got a large chunk that you can just cut out in the middle.
So, this game is a game where Jack has to... I get it. This is a game where this is a game where I read out the description of a perk and Jack has to name that perk. We start off with 2 survivor perks. Perk number 1. When the killer breaks a pallet or breakable wall or damages a generator, their aura is revealed to you for 5 seconds.
Alert.
Yes. Number 2. Still survivor. The aura of the generator you are currently repairing is revealed to all survivors located within 32 meters. If the killer downs a survivor while you are repairing a generator, you see the auras of all other survivors for 10 seconds.
I believe that's a Nancy perk.
It is.
Any Nancy perk, I use it in strength.
Fixated.
Fixated. Oh yeah.
What's the other one? 10 seconds on the clock.
For the people?
No, that's Yui. That's Better Together.
Better Together, yeah.
So, killer perks. Damn. Your terror radius is increased by 26%. Gain 100% more blood points for actions in the deviousness category.
Oh, I should know this because this is unnerving present. No, that's the skill check thing. Is it a trapper add-on or is it a normal one? Unnerving presence. Oh, crap.
10 seconds on the clock.
Jesus.
3.
I'm gonna be really annoyed when you reveal this to me. Go on.
Distressing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah. Also, the final one.
Is that a trapper perk, or is that just a... If you haven't got it?
I don't know.
Is it just a generic
I
one?
wrote it down.
Okay.
All regressing generators will be highlighted by a white aura. Once regression ends, generators will be highlighted by a yellow aura for 16 seconds. Noises created by generator repairs are audible for an additional 8 meters.
That would be surveillance.
It would! 3 out of 4. How do you feel about the distressing one? I thought you were going to get that easy.
I should have done, but I always get confused between the unnerving presence
Not very
and
smart.
distressing.
Not very
No, not
smart,
at all.
So that brings us to the end of this podcast. Thank you very much for joining us.
I've hardly looked at that camera.
No, I haven't either. It's in a better position today. Anything you want to say?
I think we're more positive about the game today. Yeah. We seem to... I know I mentioned it last time, but we seem to focus on...
Always moaning. It's because we're Dead by Daylight players. You have to moan about it.
And we're British as well. We like moaning, don't we?
Exactly.
But, no, yeah.
Do you want to plug your stuff?
Plug.
Do you want to plug your stuff? No, do you want to... Where can people find you, Jack?
I'm sitting right here.
For God's sake. Never mind.
Twitch.tv/Jackster JAKSTALOCKEE. So...
Anything else? Music?
If you want. Pet Needs. We're releasing an album soon.
Is that an exclusive? Is that a DVP exclusive?
A what?
A DVP exclusive?